What's up, everybody? My name is Zach, but you can call me the Z-Man, and let's talk about Spider-Man Miles Morales. Spider-Man Miles Morales, for those of you that don't know, is a pseudo-sequel to 2018's Spider-Man from Insomniac Games. And this time, instead of Peter Parker, you're playing as, well, Miles Morales, the other Spider-Man from the Ultimate series of comics. Which is a really cool move because it further cements Miles Morales into the pop culture zeitgeist, well, with his comics and now a video game and even a movie. Into the Spider-Verse is the best Spider-Man movie. Don't at me. Japanese Spider-Man is a close second. This game is often touted as a launch title for the PS5 and one of those games that you have to get for the system, which is where I played the game. But it also came out on PS4, and based on conversations I've had with friends that did play it on PS4, it runs pretty well there as well. So the big question for this review becomes, is this a must-play game, and is it a worthy sequel to 2018 Spider-Man, which was a game I really liked, and was my third favorite game of 2018? First off, the game is absolutely beautiful on PS5. It has 3 different modes: Fidelity mode, which is going to have your 4K, ray tracing, all the goodness in it; a performance mode that gives you 60 FPS, which honestly for Spider-Man gameplay is game-changing. And then upsettingly, after I beat the game, they came out with the performance RT mode, which gives you the best of both worlds, with 60 FPS gameplay and ray tracing, but at a lowered resolution. And honestly, this is probably the best way to play the game. 60 FPS is necessary for playing Spider-Man, in my opinion now. Miles Morales is very much built upon the same bones as 2018's Spider-Man, what with the same map and the same mission structure. But there are several small changes that do make this game come into its own a little bit. Just like with 2018 Spider-Man, traversal does continue to be the best part of this game. Web-slinging throughout the entire city is still fun, and rarely do you ever find yourself wanting to use the fast travel feature, despite how quick it is even on PS5. That being said, Miles does swing a little bit cooler than Peter Parker ever did. He's able to utilize his new Venom powers to augment his traversal abilities, being able to quickly shoot himself forward for more speed or up into the air to gain extra height. And the other thing I found is that I was using the trick modifier way more in this game than I did in 2018. I remember there being a trick modifier, but not using it very often. But the way Miles Morales did his tricks was just so cool that I really did enjoy using it over and over and over and over, trying to find new combinations and like those cool, like the behind the head thing. Combat is also very similar with the same attack dodge style as 2018 Spider-Man, but augmented with Miles' special flair. In this game, you get less gadgets because you do have the augmented Venom powers of Miles Morales. Instead of 8 gadgets from 2018, you get 4 gadgets that are honestly a little less useful, but you do get 4 different types of Venom attacks, each of which are very fun to use. On top of that, Miles also has a camouflage power, which kind of breaks the game a little bit. It makes stealth sections way too easy. If you ever get caught and start going into combat and you start to feel a little overwhelmed, all you have to do is pop your invisibility, and all of a sudden you're back in stealth. This makes most of the fights that you get into in the game, especially the stealth fights, trivial. Like I said, as soon as you get into kind of a bad situation, you pop invisibility and all of a sudden you're back into stealth and being able to take out 1 or 2 people without getting noticed again. Now, where the game does kind of fall short for me is in the story. Miles Morales, as we expected, is a pretty short game with maybe 12 to 14 hours worth of content total, but can be mainlined in maybe 6 to 8 hours. That does make for a very easy platinum trophy, which I recommend. If you need to get the 100 hit combo trophy, just find any combat encounter and dodge a bunch. It's really easy. But the drawback of having that short of a game is it doesn't quite allow those relationships to flesh out all the way. Some of the more small writing felt really stilted between the characters, but when it did get into the bigger, more philosophical parts of the game, I thought they handled it really well. As a result, the climax kind of felt rushed, and the ending didn't quite hit the emotional highs, especially in the final battle that I got from Spider-Man 2018. The game also has a weird secondary villain, kind of like an overarching villain that doesn't feel threatening in the slightest. What I do really appreciate about the story and writing is how fleshed out the world feels. Harlem feels like a living, breathing place. You have Miles's mother, Rio, running for election in a local office. You have Genki and Miles making an app to help Spider-Man throughout the entire city. It just feels like more alive than it did in Spider-Man 2018, more neighborhood. Now, you could definitely argue that this game is better than 2018 Spider-Man because it is a leaner experience, and that's true. There are no weird stealth sections where you're playing as Mary Jane Watson. There's no weird mini games where you're trying to match up pipes to a puzzle. There's no weird interlude where you take down some of your most well-known villains in a quick little side mission. The brand new friendly neighborhood Spider-Man app that I mentioned earlier is a great way to handle the side missions and crimes of the game. It's so much easier when you can just activate a side mission or activate a crime when you're going for those platinum trophies. And it really does make Spider-Man feel like a man of the people. People are coming to Spider-Man asking for help. Overall, Spider-Man Miles Morales provides a smaller, more contained experience that definitely sets up Miles to be a very big player in Spider-Man 2. Whenever we get that, Insomniac. Spider-Man Miles Morales is a great game. It's definitely one that I recommend you play, whether you have a PlayStation 5 or if you've got a PlayStation 4. Spider-Man Miles Morales gets an 8 out of 10. For the record, Spider-Man 2018 also got an 8 out of 10, but it's like, I think it's a little bit better than Miles. The remastered version that came with my copy of Miles Morales, I literally popped it in the PS5 and transferred my save from the PS4, and every single trophy popped. Easy platinum. Easiest platinum I've ever gotten. Hey, thank you so very much for watching. If you wouldn't mind, please go down and subscribe to the channel, because it's honestly the best way to help this channel grow. And if you hit the bell icon, you'll actually be notified of when stuff comes out. And hey, also tell me down in the comments, if you played this game, what'd you think? Who do you think the villain of Spider-Man 2 is going to be? I mean, we already know, but it's a spoiler, so I can't say it here. Now, if you'll excuse me, I do have to make 2 more videos, because it's the end of the year, and I gotta tell you what my favorite games of this year were.